So today was probably one of the most frustrating and also the most motivating running experiences that I have ever had. I ran a half marathon today and it didn't go quite as I expected it to. And so stick around and I am going to give you some hints, tips, basically what I learned from this, and just tell you a little bit about my experience with the Oma-Half.
Please hang up and try again.
So I almost ran this race last year. I was preparing for a half marathon. May the 7th last year was the Lincoln National Guard half marathon. So I decided to run the 10 miler last year. And it was one of the most difficult experiences back then, too, even just doing 10 miles. It's kind of hilly, rolling hills throughout, so it's a good training run, but it was also kind of hot, and I ended up with a great deal of pain in my right knee after about 5 miles. So I walked quite a bit, and I did not get nearly close to the time that I wanted to. This year, I decided to run the half marathon. It defeated me last year. Wasn't going to defeat me this year. Boy, was I wrong. So first off, the weather, it was horrible. Last year it was relatively warm. I mean, it was in the 60s and 70s, so it was not a bad run. And this year it started off in the 40s. The first half of the run was amazing. Okay, I was hitting about 9 minutes 50 seconds consistently for the first half, more than the first half, because it's basically an out and back run. So you run out 6.55 miles, there's a turnaround spot, and you come right back. So I was hitting 9 minutes 50 seconds for the first 6.5 to 7 miles. Right around 6 miles left, I would say, so right at the 7-ish mile mark, I hit a wall because the weather completely turned. Like, I was ready for the hills because I had already been doing them coming one way. I was ready to do them the other way. I was feeling really good, but then all of a sudden the wind shifted. So going one direction, the wind was hitting me on my left side the whole time. So I'm like running like this. And then when you turn around, you got to kind of get used to it for that first half mile, because all of a sudden the wind is hitting you from the other side. So you're kind of running into you're trying to counter that wind from the other direction. And it probably wouldn't have been such a big deal, but I'm 5'1" and 136 pounds, and that wind was a solid 20 miles an hour. It was gusting. It was crazy. Anyways, probably another half mile after that was when the rain started, and then the sleet started. And because it wasn't a sunny day, and it wasn't supposed to start snowing or raining or anything like that until after the race, I chose not to wear sunglasses. And that was mistake number one. I chose not to wear sunglasses, so when the sleet started to hit, it was in my eyes, and I had this kind of this scarf that kind of went over my head to block the cold over my ears and to block the cold on my head and to pull down if I needed to over my forehead, and to keep my neck warm. But it did not do very well when I pulled it over my eyes because I was running like this because I couldn't see anything, and I was blocking my eyes like this, trying to run, trying not to crash into anything while trying not to go blind. My eyes are still a little bit, they hurt just a little bit from the sleet hitting me in the eyes. Another mistake that I made was, because I thought it was just going to be cold, the cotton shirt that I wore was a long sleeve shirt. I had cut thumb holes in it so that I didn't need gloves. That was a bad choice because as it got colder, my fingers started to go numb and they were in pain. My face was going numb and it was in pain. The cotton shirt was the cotton shirt was absorbing all of the water. I had a second cotton shirt underneath it because I expected to be able to pull off the first shirt as it got too hot because I was running. And I thought that I was doing a good job too, because actually probably about 3 miles into the run, I had to pull up my sleeves because I was getting warm, because your body temperature usually rises between 15 and 20 degrees. So, and by that I mean that if you're outside in 40-degree weather, that it will feel like it's 60-degree weather or 55-degree weather, but it's going to feel 15 to 20 degrees warmer than what it actually is as you start to run. So I thought that I was doing good, but my clothes were absorbing all of the water. I am glad that I wore good tennis shoes. I was going to wear my barefoot shoes, but those are like obviously much smaller. I like them because they weigh less and it's easier to run with them. But they also get your feet wet very easily. So my feet probably by mile 8 were soaked. I should have brought a second pair of socks and stopped when they got wet and changed my socks. That way it would potentially avoid blisters, which I did not do. I did put my race number on my leg. Usually they tell you not to do that. They want you to put it right here. But I ended up putting it on my leg because I knew that if I took off my top and I was down to my second top, that it would be difficult for me to unhook it and rehook it. So I put it on my leg knowing that I wasn't gonna take my pants off in the middle of the race. So that's another tip for you. Make sure that you don't run in shoes that you've never run in before. Wear your number here because it's easier for the guys taking pictures to see it. But in the event that you're going to take off your top, maybe put it on your leg so that you don't have to move it. They've also got these bands that can go around that you can attach it to. But I've noticed that if you don't pin it to the bottom anyways, it's going to flap in the breeze. So another issue that I ran into was that when I had about 5 miles left, my music stopped. I thought that it was because my phone was dying, but apparently it stopped the music. I believe the Bluetooth was having trouble for some reason connecting to my Bluetooth headset. So perhaps, I mean, I like running with those better, so I don't know what I would do. But it was kind of crazy because I'm running. I'm like, oh, it's silent, whatever. Okay, so I'm singing in my head, Sia or something, I don't know, Eminem. Here we go, bum, 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 bum. And all of a sudden, my Runkeeper app says 12 minutes or something like that, whatever it is. But all of a sudden, it's like booming voice talking to me in Australian. I loved it. He has an Australian accent. So he starts talking to me, and literally, I did like this gazelle hop because it scared the bejesus out of me because I didn't expect to hear anything. Anyway, so my recommendation, because my phone was dying, and it's possible that maybe when it went into like low energy mode, that maybe it cut out the the Bluetooth for me so that it wasn't using extra energy. I would recommend an external battery source or power source so that you can keep it charging throughout your run when you're going for a longer run, because it lasted for about 8 miles, but for those last 5 miles I was musicless. And then once I got up to the 13th mile, actually it was like 12-ish miles, my phone died completely. So that was a problem. That was a mistake that I made, letting my phone die completely. That made it more difficult because if you don't have the music, like I use 2 playlists. One of them is an 8-minute mile playlist and the other one is a 9-minute mile playlist. So basically the boom, 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 boom in the background keeps you running on a good pace. It makes it easier for you to stay focused on that. Without that, it made it hard for me to remember, what mile I was on, how fast I was going, and different things like that. I ended up finishing the race in an 11-minute pace, so I increased quite a bit towards the end, but my legs were frozen. It was so difficult for me to keep going, and I almost quit again and again and again and again. I walked more than I want to admit for those last, I believe about 4, not the whole 4 miles, but I would run like a mile and then I would stop and I'd be like, okay, this minute I'm gonna walk it. And it was hard for me to get it going again. I was freezing, and it was just like trying to keep the sleet and the rain out of my eyes and trying to breathe and, blowing my nose all the time. You can't really bring Kleenex with you because especially in the rain like that, it's just gonna get soaked and there's nothing you can do. So I'm just the whole time. And that was super frustrating. I always wear a wristband, and I usually use the wristband for like hot days and stuff like that. What I just did. This is fun. Okay, so for like a hot day, dang it. Okay, whatever. For a hot day, I can use the wristband to like wipe off my face because I don't run with a towel either. So that makes it a little bit lighter. I don't run with water. I don't run with anything, with food, any of that stuff. Maybe today would have been a good day for it. I did some really good prep work. I got up at 6 a.m. The race wasn't until 9 so that I could have breakfast and so that I could get ready and so that I could, have time to remember all of the things that I wanted to take with me and make sure that I was well prepared for this run. And I'm glad I did because, okay, I did not hit the pace that I wanted to. And I was very, very frustrated those last 4 miles, thinking about how close I was to breaking my personal best. I really wanted to get under 2 hours and 20 minutes because my goal is before the end of the year to get under 2 hours. And I was on pace to get 2:11, but I ended up with 2:24:04. My last race was 2:23:58. I am incredibly proud that without having any sort of timing device or anything like that, I was able to maintain a fast enough speed that I could get within 10 seconds of my prior personal best. So I could have set a record today if I had just run 6 seconds faster, but I'm just happy I finished because, like I said, there were many, many, many times that I just wanted to up and quit and be like, I don't care. I'll finish this, in whatever time. I'm going to walk the rest of the thing. And the only thing that kept me going was, number one, the thing that made me want to stop, the weather. And number two, just knowing how hard I tried to prepare for this. I knew that the weather, if I stopped, that I was just going to be in the weather longer. And I knew that if I stopped, it would be disappointing because I put a lot of effort into, like leg days and running faster. Put in so many miles on the treadmill and outside and all those different places because I have a goal and I'm going to hit that goal. But it's hard. It is a fight with myself. It is a fight to do better. And I don't know. I could really walk away and be like, man, I missed it. If I'd have only done this, if I'd have only done that, if I'd have only run 6 seconds faster, I would be better than I am. But you know what? I am so proud that up against all that adversity and all of those odds, and obviously, like, this race is against me. The Oma-Half, the 10-miler, both of them hate me. Hate me. But this is probably one that I'll run again. Does that sound crazy? Normal kind of crazy though, right? So I am going to, I'm going to run it again next year if I'm here. And I'm going to defeat it one of these years. Maybe I'll come back every year and be like, screw you. One of these years, I'm going to win this race. Not win it, like I'm not going to ever be faster than all the other girls. At 5'1", I have to run like 15 bazillion more steps than everybody else in order to get there. But I'm going to leave this race feeling like you didn't defeat me, I defeated you. Anyways. This race was, like I said, one of the most difficult races I've ever run, but I feel really good. Like, I know that my next race at the end of May is going to be way better. The weather should be better by then. I'm going to be really well prepared because I'm already pretty far forward in my preparation. Obviously, I could have gotten 2:11, so I'm going to shoot for faster than 2:11, as though 2:11 is actually my PR right now. And hopefully, who knows, maybe in May I'll be able to hit my sub 2 hour half marathon. I think I can do it. And I think you can too. So that's pretty much what I got for you. Dress for your half marathon. Make sure that you wear glasses whether you think that it's going to be sunny or not. Don't go out there with wet hair because if it gets wet, it's going to be cold. Make sure that you've got an external power supply. If your phone, like my iPhone, dies really quickly, I was pretty well full up. And then I use get up early so that you can get everything prepared. I got there 15 minutes early. I was able to go to the bathroom before the race, able to do everything that I needed to do for it to be a good race. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Okay. So I'll have a few links down below for things that have helped me on my running journey. If you have any questions, let me know. If you liked this, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like this, give me a thumbs down and a comment as to why so that I can fix things and make it better in the future. And if you want to see my next video, then hit the subscribe button. And if you hate running too, I want this shirt. There'll be a link below because frickin' frack. Running sucks.